Guys, we are back with part two. This is the husband's point of view, and he says that his ex wife lied to us all on the channel. Hear his story. Make sure to go down to the description and click part two to hear the husband's version. I asked my ex husband for an open marriage, and I opened the floodgates to never ending pain. For the record, I was the one to file for divorce in my situation. When I asked my ex-husband for an open marriage, he was excited and hit the ground running immediately. My ex-husband didn't even use dating apps like I intended. He had to have had women already lined up or was cheating, which is why I divorced him. I was never able to prove he was cheating beforehand, but I had a gut feeling. True story. You do know us women get gut feelings as well, right? Anyway, I do like what you do. There's a bit of biasness in this space in general, but I do get it. Most of you are right. Some women do destroy their own marriages, but if you all listen to my story, that is 100% true. You will learn that me asking for the open marriage was meant for me to ask for it because it exposed my ex-husband for who he truly is. Now I wish I didn't have to go through the heartbreak of knowing he was with so many women, but it lit a fire under my ash to file for divorce and leave. It wasn't the prettiest separation, as I was the breadwinner in the home. I'm a PhD, and my husband worked for a greenhouse agriculture company. The most he ever made was $55K per year, and I helped him get that after speaking to his boss. I've consistently made over $179K since I met him. Before that, I was on his level, but I'm proof that women don't judge men by their income. After I earned a PhD in statistics, I had a horrible time finding work. I'd say this humbled me quite a bit. The college I attended was not accredited. I figured I'd still have a fighting chance at getting a great job after school. Eventually, I did find work as a research scientist. A company in need of workers gave me an opportunity to prove myself, but I was hired and paid below base pay. I worked my ass off and proved myself. That following year, during my review, I was given a raise putting me over base pay. I had proven myself. All that time I felt depressed before given the opportunity to work at this company because my degree just was not respected. I never gave up, and I made it. So anyone out there, what's your excuse? Do better. To celebrate this accomplishment, I went out to a bar, something I typically don't do. Yes, I drink wine, but I never was a bar-type person, and it never was really my atmosphere. But I decided, hey, I was going to do it. I wasn't really friendly with a lot of my colleagues because I was so focused and zoned in on getting work done, improving myself, but at this bar where I met my ex-husband, Ralph. Ralph was originally born in Mexico, but he became a U.S. citizen through naturalization. I took a liking to Ralph. He was there with some other guys, but I kind of started flirting with him. I thought he was cute. My ex-husband really is cute. I kept talking to him and talking to him. His English wasn't the greatest, but I could make out what he was saying. His friends kept pushing him to talk to me more, and they were saying, "She clearly likes you, dude. What are you scared of?" He kept laughing, saying he wasn't afraid, and he has no problem with women. Surprisingly, that was the cleanest English he let out that night. Thinking back now, I'm not surprised with all the women he started dealing with when I asked for the open marriage. I guess it shouldn't surprise me. Before I left, Ralph wrote down his phone number for me. I took it with a smile and I got a ride back home from my friend. I had one too many drinks and I called my friend to come get me, leaving my car at the bar, but he took me to go get the car the following day when we woke up in the morning. I contacted Ralph after I got my car. I kind of forgot about him a little bit, but once I went to the bar and got my car, I quickly remembered him and remembered I had the number. I got back home, pulled the number out of the pocket of the pants I wore the following day, and I called instead of texting, but it'd be better to call him. He picked right up. We talked for 2 hours straight. Longer talked to Ralph, the more I could understand him clear. His English wasn't completely bad, but it wasn't the best. Now, initially, I was under the impression that Ralph owned his own company. He kept telling me he had an LLC, which was true. He did have an LLC. He was trying to start his own renovation company while working with another company. It just never took off for him. He'd do side jobs and small jobs here on the side outside of his company, but nothing big enough to call it a company, really. I did not judge Ralph for that. He was still a great guy, and guys, he paid for the dates, every single one. We didn't go on very expensive dates as I didn't require them. There's nothing wrong with the diner having coffee, even a picnic. Ralph was very romantic and very skilled. After months of dating, I realized that he would just continue to have problems with starting his own business and being successful at it. So Ralph's job entailed him building greenhouses for this company. I didn't like the salary my Ralphie was receiving, learning of the work he was doing exactly, and I felt that his boss was taking advantage of him. So I did have a talk with his boss. I know some people, and his boss seemed to know the same people. Long story short, Ralph got a raise twice in 1 year, but it topped out at $55,000 a year. It was okay. Ralph and I didn't plan on having children. I've never wanted children, and he was okay with not having children. His mother wasn't. That's another story. I'll speak a little bit about her in a bit, but my salary and his salary together, we could tackle paying a mortgage and taking care of bills and even traveling when we wanted to, and that's what we did. We split the bill 50-50, straight down the middle, so nothing seemed unfair. My ex-husband Ralph was very skilled at what he did. He could do things around the house, and that kind of made up for the salary difference. We didn't have to pay to get a new kitchen, except for materials and things, upgrading the bathroom. Ralph was able to do all of it. Some may think that a person would ask for an open relationship or marriage because maybe the sex life is bad. Ralph and I's sex life wasn't bad. We were both very compatible, actually. There were times where I'd get very jealous because women seemed to flirt with Ralph, especially waitresses. One time in particular was when the waitress thought that Ralph was my son. I am an American Caucasian woman. Ralph is Mexican. I don't know why this woman thought that Ralph could be my son. Maybe she was thinking adopted son or something, but it was so annoying. I'm pretty sure she was trying to be cute and call me out because she liked Ralph and thought I was much older than him. I did not tip, and we did not attend that restaurant ever again. And I also left a very bad Yelp review. Ralph and I dated for 2 years before he proposed to me. I had to tell him to propose to me. I didn't think he ever would, if I would have never brought it up. He told me that he needed me to meet his parents first. They still stayed in Mexico. By this time, I've already met his sister and some of his cousins that lived in the U.S., but his parents still stayed in Mexico. I was all aboard to meet his parents, and we took a trip down to Mexico. All of us, me, my husband, Ralph, his siblings, and all the cousins. The entire time at his mom's house was so uncomfortable. She did not like me. So Ralph had already told his mother that I did not want children. That's the reason she didn't like me, because I didn't want to produce children. She wanted more grandkids, and she felt that her son should be with a woman that wanted to have children and have a legacy. Sure, if we lived in Mexico and I kept my same salary and Ralph had his same salary, yeah, 1, maybe 2 kids would be good, but in America, things are just different. You can't raise a kid off $100K a year, not comfortably. I tried to explain to Ralph's mother that life was way more expensive in America. Of course, he had to translate for me, but she wasn't buying it. She called me egoísta. Ralph wouldn't tell me what she meant until after we left. He told me that his mother basically was saying I was a selfish woman. I don't know why he was afraid to tell me while we were there. I wouldn't snap on his mother inside of her own home. Needless to say, his mother did not approve of him marrying me. His father didn't seem to care much. He said as long as his son is happy, then he's happy. That's the start of Ralph and I's arguments. I honestly thought eventually he'd leave me. I'm pretty sure his mother wanted him to be with another Mexican woman and not me. I think it was more than just me not wanting kids. That was just a convenient excuse for her. So we went into the marriage with issues. We started to argue more. He'd do more for me, buy me flowers, give me candy, trying to prove to me that he'll never leave me and that he loved me. Honestly, I did believe it, but something in me just wanted to give him a hard time, just to test his love for me. We eventually married, and his family was in attendance. It was a beautiful wedding. My family was very happy for me, very proud of me, proud of all my accomplishments that I made in my career and for getting married. I felt so special and so beautiful on my wedding day. So, like I said, we went into our marriage with some disagreements here and there. Mainly that stemmed from his mother not wanting him to marry me, judging me because I didn't want to have children. I came close to giving in and decided that I wanted to give my ex-husband a child, but I quickly changed my mind, just thinking of having to put my career on hold to stay home with the baby. I didn't want to do that. Ralph volunteers to stay home to take care of the child while I work, but that doesn't seem right to me. The mother is needed, not a father. I decided that I did not want to have a child. During our relationship, we used protection. I didn't want any accidents at all. My ex-husband didn't seem to care too much, and we had a pretty active sex life. It was good, of course. Every once in a while, he complained and asked just to do it without a condom for a little bit of time. But I just didn't want to ever take a chance. I was terrified to get pregnant. I didn't want to ruin my career. Oh, bring a child into this world and not be fit enough to raise it. I think people should be like me and think before they have children. Ralph and I were married for 2 years before I asked him for the open relationship marriage. To put it out there, I absolutely did not have anyone in mind. I didn't have anyone I was talking to, nor was I ever cheating on Ralph. Not one time. That doesn't mean I've never been hit on. All the time I take the train to work, pretty much every day. I get hit on. I go grab coffee before work or go grab lunch. I get hit on. Not saying I'm just the most beautiful woman in the world, but most women in general get hit on a daily basis. So I was pretty confident that I would find someone. We'd both just start dating apps and be upfront about our marriage, but we were open to seeing other people. So during dinner, I sat my husband down after I prepared dinner for us, and I straight up was asking him if he was familiar with an open relationship or an open marriage, and if he knows what it means. Ralph knew exactly what it was. I just wanted to make sure. He spoke about how someone at his job actually was part of an open marriage. One of the colleagues spoke about it a couple times during lunch and on road trips to a job sites. I asked about opening up our marriage. Ralph had the biggest smile on his face. The last time I seen Ralph smile like that was when we went to an event here in the city that celebrated Jarabe Tapatio. He was so happy to get out there and show off his moves. I wasn't able to join him because I couldn't do any of those amazing dances. He had the biggest smile on his face, and at the dinner table, I asked him to open up our marriage relationship. He had that same smile. His response was, "Really? You really want to do this?" I said, "Yeah, I think it'll be great for us. You know, something different." Ralph started to scarf down his food. I had to tell him to slow down. He was in a rush to go and do something. He told me he needed to do some work on a laptop. I said, "It's okay if you want to start a dating app. I planned on starting one as well. You know, you can use your phone." Ralph was horrible with phones. He finished dinner and he sat there right on the couch and got on the computer. I didn't bother looking at what he was doing. I just fired up my phone and started downloading dating apps. I started with one, and I got way too many messages that night. It was just overwhelming, so I downloaded another that I was actually comfortable with, and I liked the pace of everything, and I met someone. Here I was taking it slow with one guy, Marcus, a 41-year-old doctor who also was in an open marriage as of recent. Neither of us knew how to do it correctly, so we went on dates and eventually had sex on date 4. I noticed that Ralph was spending a ridiculous amount of money. hundreds of dollars he was taking out of the ATM whenever he had a date. I'd ask him why did he need cash for the date, and he'd never give me a good reason why. Ralph was going on dates on a weekly basis, and when I did get a chance to look at his text message thread, there were multiple numbers and they all seemed to talk about meeting at a hotel. How on earth was Ralph getting all of these women so fast? He told me he'd just meet them out and about. I mean, Ralph is handsome, but a different woman every week was shocking. I talked to Marcus about it. His response was, "Oh, is he paying hookers? Why spend that kind of money on a date?" I don't think Ralph was doing that at all. What I think is, he'd been cheating on me. Why get that excited to open up your marriage? He's been wanting to do it, or he's been doing it on his end, and I had no idea about it. I got fed up, and I confronted Ralph and told him we're going to close this open marriage. This was about 3 months into it. Ralph spent so much money. It was ridiculous. I had to put an end to this. I told Ralph we're going to close this open relationship marriage. I don't like it. I'm not happy here. I am with one person focusing on just one single person, and Ralph is just going through women left and right. I asked him how many women had he been with. He started thinking in his head, and he told me more than 12. I asked Ralph, how in the world did you find 12 different women within 3 months? He'd only say, out and about. He swore he never used the dating app. I was shocked, but I was also disgusted. I asked him, did he use protection for every woman? He said, of course. I told him I wanted to stop this. Ralph looked me dead in my eyes and said, you're the one that wanted to do this. I don't know if I can close. Those were his exact words. He then followed with, let's give it a couple more months. I told Ralph if he doesn't close this, I'm going to divorce him. I know he's been cheating on me before I even asked this question. Ralph told me that's fine if you divorce me. Go ahead, I won't make it difficult. If we stay married, I'm not ready to close yet. I didn't say a word. My intentions were to divorce Ralph, and that's what I did. I sat with my lawyer and we talked about everything, and he tried to come up with ways to keep Ralph from taking any type of alimony from me or any kind of payments. We tried to get Ralph to sign paperwork stating that he did not want any alimony. It didn't work. I tried to argue that he spent his share of the savings just in 3 months' time, and he should not get any of it during the divorce. None of that worked for me. Not only did Ralph get half of our savings, I also had to pay him temporary spousal maintenance. I was pissed. Yes, I was happy that I was getting a divorce from a man. I know for sure Ralph was cheating on me, but having to pay him. He's a grown man that can fend for himself. That really bothered me. Ralph practically got away with a crime, if you ask me. How he was able to cover up his cheating during our marriage, I have no idea. Slick little fellow, but the cocky attitude that he had once we opened up our marriage and he was getting all these women, I couldn't tell him anything. I just knew once I was ready to close the marriage, he'd be okay with it and close it. Nope, not at all. Ralph did not have sex with me the entire time we had the open marriage. I tried sleeping with my husband, but we didn't sleep together. Ralph had no desire to sleep with me. I feel like I was robbed in the divorce. Why did I have to pay this grown man money for 6 months? It just wasn't fair. Also, when I discovered he was going out every week with other women, I tried to let it go and ignore it, but it actually started to break my heart. This entire time, he desired other women, and possibly more than likely was sleeping with other women behind my back. That made me feel so insecure. I would try to talk with Marcus about it, but he wasn't always up for it, and he shut it down. That eventually nuked our relationship. Marcus actually stopped seeing me. That was before I confronted Ralph and told him I wanted to quit the open marriage. I thought it'd be easy for me to find someone else, but it actually was pretty hard. It's not that I wasn't getting people hitting on me or messaging me on the app, but it was a bunch of weirdos and frankly men that I did not find attractive at all. I highly doubt that they were in open marriages like they claimed. I think they were a bunch of single men just looking to get laid. I'll probably never get married again. Definitely not for me. If so, the man will make way more money than I do. If not, then maybe I'll look into a prenup. When I married Ralph, I didn't think we'd ever get divorced. I truly did love him, but me asking for this open marriage pretty much just opened the floodgates to never ending pain. I still feel the pain today. I'd still have my marriage if I didn't do that. I sat and I thought about, what if Ralph was cheating on me, but I just never found out? Maybe cheating isn't always so bad. I was pretty much happy and I didn't know. Our sex life was great until I opened up the marriage. I regret asking. I truly do. I miss being a wife. I can't go back and change anything, but that's my story.
Wow. um, Ralph hit the ground running. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, you asked your friend Marcus about what Ralph was doing, or you suggested it, or you just told him the situation. It does sound like Ralph was just going out and I don't know, probably buying women. I don't know, or he's just spending a lot. Why was he spending so much money on these women? You know, look, yeah, you definitely opened up the floodgates. I don't think Ralph was cheating on you. I don't think he was. I think he was loyal to you, and he was in that relationship, and he felt like he was in a good situation. I think you probably thought you were just above him the whole time. Seriously, I think you really thought you were above him, but I don't think he was cheating on you. I think you asked for the open relationship. He was probably tired of screwing you. You said you guys used protection the whole time. You didn't want to have a baby. He was like, I'm going to get it. I want something different. I'm tired of you. And hey, he went crazy. Whether he was buying it or he was really pulling these chicks, I don't know. Ah, man. Open up your marriage, the relationship, the marriage is over. Just forget about it. Guys, let me know what you think about this in the comments. If you want to send in a story, send it to truestorynation@gmail.com. Truestorynation@gmail.com. Here, I'll put it on the screen. That's truestorynation@gmail.com. I'm going to catch you guys at the next one.
Port 2. Hello, True Story Epic. My name is Ralph. I've been listening to your channel for some months now. Please excuse my writing. When I heard the story about the wife asking for an open marriage you recently did in your channel, when I heard my name, I knew that was my ex-wife. This is what made me know it was her. When she bragged about making $100,000 a year, I knew that was her. Mr. Epic, we lived in Chicago at the time. Most of our arguments were about my ex-wife, telling me I was lazy and needed to make more money like a real man. I was surely a simp for putting up with it. I don't like how she accused me of dating prostitution. I met a total of 3 different ladies that all were attracted to me the first we met. She's what you all would say is a narcissista. She thinks she's above everyone. She lied to you and your listeners about why my mother didn't like her. Yes, it was a problem that she didn't want children, but she didn't tell you how she refused to sit on my mother's furniture because of the animals, how she complained about the restroom being dirty. She said in front of everyone that it smelled in my mother's house. She was cooking menudo soup. I'm okay with the smell, and so are my family members, but if you smell something in someone's home and you've been invited into their home, it's very rude to tell them that it smells in their home. That's just something you shouldn't do the way I was raised. My mother ultimately thought that my ex-wife was just rude. She was a very, very rude woman, and this is something I encountered on a daily basis. Her not wanting children was just the icing on the cake. It's not like my mother pretended like that not watching children was the issue. My mother let her know that she was a very nasty, rude woman, and she said to her she'd prefer her son to be with the woman that's sweet and kind. I believe my ex-wife was trying to get you all to think that I was with prostitutes. I've never done that in my life. That is something I would do. And saying that I was spending hundreds of dollars a week is absurd. I would never do that. I was spending money on dates, but hundreds of dollars, I don't know why she would make those things up. I had 3 different women that I was dealing with. They liked me, and they all knew that my wife wanted to be in an open relationship. Now, was I excited about this open relationship? Yes, I was to be excited. I've dealt with so much with my ex-wife. She treated me like I was a little boy. I grew tired of her. We still had sex, but that doesn't mean I really enjoyed it. She enjoyed it more than I did. I felt like I had to be loyal, so I was loyal. I never cheated on her ever, not one time. But when she told me that we could open up our relationship, I jumped on it. The part about me eating dinner really fast when she told me about the open relationship and wanting to open it, that was very true. I was rushing because I still remember the name of one of the women that was flirting with me before she told me to find her on Facebook. But I never went looking before, but I never forgot her name. Guess she was so beautiful. My wife was giving me this opportunity to sleep with other women. She was the first one I wanted to be with, and that is the first one I was with. I friended her on Facebook and messaged her, and I told her the truth. I was still married, but I was in an open marriage. I even told her my wife's Facebook account and gave her free will to reach out to my ex-wife to ask her any questions, just in case she thought I was a liar. The second woman I was with was a woman that I worked with in my job. She is also a builder, very skilled, and she's a Mexican woman, like me. She's the one I'm currently with today, and I plan to marry with soon. My mother loves her, by the way, and she wants babies, many of them. The third woman I was with was a woman that also used to flirt with me at the gas station whenever I stopped to pick up gasoline for our truck when we were heading to job sites. She always flirted with me. She would tell me how attracted I was and told me whenever I was free or single to make sure I reach out to her. That's what I did. There was no prostitution involved. I wouldn't do that. According to my lawyer, I got exactly what I deserved in our divorce. We were to split to savings. She tried to pretend like I stole money from her. I never stole money from her. I put money into that savings just like she did. Yeah, she put more, but it was only fair to split it because we were married. That's what my lawyer said. I was happy to divorce her, and I'm happy with the woman that I love, someone that I need to be with. We are going to have babies, and we're getting married soon. My ex-wife is just a bitter lady.